All right, so we're finally back, and now we finally have some decent audio. I actually managed to open up my device and get rid of the corrosion, and that was the end of that. Which I got to be honest with you, it's kind of stupid, really. I mean, a lot of devices. Okay, all right. I'll be honest, I was stupid. For some reason, I forgot to turn the thing off with the batteries in it, which would explain why there was corrosion in my TBB12 line 6 transmitter. But apparently, a lot of other people were having this problem too, and nobody really had posted any fixes. There wasn't really anything on the internet, and I just sort of had a little bit of a hunch. So I actually went ahead and I put a video together. It was, kind of a crappy one. I just did it with my GoPro, so hopefully it'll help somebody else because there's basically 4 little screws on the back. And it's weird because a lot of the time when something like this happens, unless you leave the thing for months and months and months, which in my case I didn't, usually it'll be intermittent and then you clean it up and then it should work. But for some reason, a lot of the Line 6 products, as good and as robust as they are, if you get any kind of corrosion or anything happens to it, it just won't turn on at all. So it's really kind of annoying. But basically, yeah, there's 4 screws on the back. In this case, the culprit was the TBP12, which is the transmitter, the body pack, which I'm actually wearing right now, which this microphone that I'm wearing goes into. And then you take the 4 screws off the back, you take the panel out, and then you basically just take either isopropyl rubbing alcohol or vinegar, and then you just clean the contacts. And then it worked perfectly. I did have to open it up because, of course, it was all the way at the bottom of the well, so I couldn't just kind of do it without opening it up. But it was a fairly straightforward repair, and I did a quick video on it for anybody that's interested. But anyway, enough of mechanical problems and things that don't work properly, because God knows there's enough of that in the world that I don't think we really need to add to it. So today I wanted to talk about something very exciting. There's a few things that are exciting that are going on that I can't really talk about, but this one I can. So this week in Las Vegas, there is a new sister television network that with our friends at Fox 5 in Las Vegas. So Go Nitro does actually air on Fox 5 in Las Vegas, and it airs, at certain times. But they have also opened up a second all sports network, which is available over the air. So anybody that is in the Las Vegas broadcast area can get it free of charge. And it is also available on Cox. So anybody that has Cox cable in Nevada should be able to get it no problem on channel 125. And then the new sports network, the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, went live at the end of last week on channel 5.2, which you can get on Rabbit Ears, actually. So anywhere in Las Vegas, Henderson, anywhere in that area, you can actually watch Go Nitro 7 days a week if you want to. It actually runs from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on every day, with the exception of Saturday, where it runs from 9:30 until 10. So basically every day with the exception of Saturday, you get 2 episodes back to back, which is very cool. And then on Saturday, you get 1 episode. So we're in full syndication. We are in full strip. So we've already started on season 3. So it started airing on some of our syndicated stations as we kind of build them. But that's the real big exciting one, is that we are now running in full what we would call strip syndication in Las Vegas. So for those of you that are in Nevada, particularly in the Las Vegas, Henderson, that sort of area, that would be, if you've got Rabbit Ears and just, good old-fashioned TV, that would be channel 5.2. So that is actually where the old Bounce station used to be. So, and then, of course, as always, we are available to watch on Fox 5, KVVU in Vegas as well. So because Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network is actually a sister station to Fox. So yeah, so that is very exciting news, and that was the main thing that I wanted to basically tell you about. And the other thing that I was going to do, which is a little less Hollywood, shall we say, is I was going to post another how-to video on how to take the seats out of your Kia Sorento anywhere from 2011 to 2016. It should work. Again, something a lot of people are searching for, but not really anything that anybody has actually done anything on, which to me I'm extremely surprised by, because a lot of people have this vehicle. It's not the sexiest vehicle in the world, but it does work. And so I thought I would do a quickie video. I was actually going to do it the other day, and then of course the weather turned, and then I was kind of screwed, so I couldn't really do it. And then I was going to do it today, and then the weather was also kind of crappy today, but I had a bunch of other stuff that I had to do today. And so I guess either tomorrow is going to be it, either before I have a bunch of meetings or after, and then hopefully we'll be able to get this done. Just stuff that, might help people out a little bit that have those kind of vehicles. Now, I don't really know how long I'm going to be driving that vehicle. Well, and I'm probably going to keep the vehicle. What am I kidding? I've actually honestly been looking at, I never thought I'd be saying this in Saskatchewan, but I am actually looking at the new EV vehicles, because the amount of fuel I am spending and that everybody is spending, particularly in an area where everybody has to drive everywhere all the time, and I drive hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. So as you can imagine, anywhere I'm going with the way the gas prices are right now costs me quite a bit. So anything I can do to try and kind of save a little bit would be good. And it also affects how much I'm able to do martial arts, and that's important to me. So I've actually been looking in, and I don't want a Tesla because I need a truck. And there aren't a huge amount of options. There is the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is available, but that's not really something that I think is going to do me. I honestly, I'm a GM guy. So in my particular case, I'm waiting for the Sierra 1500 EV, which I'm guessing is going to be somewhere in the $80,000 to $100,000 corridor, I hope. And it theoretically is supposed to be available this fall. So with any luck, I should be able to, if not at least after Christmas, maybe be able to take one of these guys for a test drive. So I'm looking into the battery-powered vehicle. Now, what I don't really like about it is I also looked at the Hummer, and I've driven Hummers, and I find that they have a lot of blind spots, and as cool as they look, they are not a very practical vehicle. They are a civilianized military vehicle. And for my purposes, it honestly doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense, frankly. And so that's just not going to work for me. Now, what I didn't like very much is that, for the premium that you're going to pay, at least up front, I mean, you'll save money over time as you're driving an EV, but paying more for the EV right off from the get-go, I don't really like the idea of paying more and having less hauling capability. I don't need to have 12, 13, 14,000 pounds of hauling ability, but I do need to at least have 10,000 in order to carry the trailers, in order to carry our equipment, in order to carry basically the kind of stuff that warrants the sort of cost that would involve buying a vehicle like that, right? So most of the vehicles up to and including the Ford F-150 Lightning seem to be able to do around 10,000, depending on the type of battery that you get in terms of range. And the only one, the one that seems closest to market as far as GM is concerned is the Hummer, which only has 7,500 pounds of towing capacity, which to my mind is just not, that's no bueno. Like, that's just not going to do it for me. So I'm hoping that if they're taking a little bit of extra time on the Sierra 1500 EV, that at the very least it will be able to do 10,000. So if I'm going to be spending upwards of $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 on one of these damn things, that I should be able to haul. So that's sort of what I'm hoping, right? It'll make it a lot easier over time. So, And the other thing that I wanted to say, again, today, this is going to be a little bit of a quickie because I have a bunch of crap that I have to do. Not that I don't love sitting here and talking to you, beautiful people, but I just, as I say, at least now the audio and everything works. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is I wanted to thank all of you that have subscribed. I've noticed that there has been an uptick, I should say, and subscribers on the channel, and I really appreciate it. And I think you will find that it will be worth your subscription because we will be having live boxing and other live events on the channel. You will start to see Go Nitro actually available for free on this Skycron channel, which we had before, but then we had to stop because we had exclusivity agreements with some of the television stations. So I couldn't do the serialization, which is why it kind of dropped off the face of the earth. And you couldn't, every Thursday at 4:30 Eastern time, you couldn't see them anymore. Now we can, because as the show has become more popular and as we've been able to get a better relationship with the stations, we've been able to negotiate a little bit more. So as of this fall, you'll notice that you'll start seeing Go Nitro serializations of each individual episode again. So every week, if for whatever reason you live in an area that the show isn't airing yet, yeah, that's okay. You can just go on YouTube right here and you can see them and watch them. And there'll be a nice little bite-sized 3 and 4 minute chunks. You won't actually have anything removed from the version of the show that you see on television, but they'll be in 3 and 4 minute chunks. They'll just be kind of serialized. The other thing that's cool that we're going to do starting this fall, both with the English and the French language version of Go Nitro Premier Jeu, is we are going to have QR codes that show up on the screen. Now, some people may say QR codes are a little bit old school and they're kind of obsolete and whatever, but they are having a bit of a resurgence because, to my knowledge, there isn't really anything that you can put on a screen or print or whatever that will actually take you specifically to the kind of content that you want somebody to see. And one of the things that you struggle with sometimes when you're doing television is that you only have a certain amount of time, right? The show runs a half hour, and I mean, sometimes you can have multiple parters, but depending on when somebody is jumping on the broadcast, they might miss something. So every single episode has to be exactly the same length. But let's say we're going flying in a fighter plane, for example, and there are certain procedures that we want to show. Well, we just don't have time in the half-hour TV show. But what we can do is we can have extended cuts and show all kinds of stuff on YouTube because we have no limit as to how long it can be. We can show all kinds of content, which is great. So when you're watching Go Nitro on TV, you'll see a little QR code, and that's your cue to pull out your phone because you can see extended versions and other stuff that we didn't have the chance to show in the half-hour version. And some things actually provide some context, which makes things a lot easier to understand, which makes things a lot more fun. That isn't to say that it isn't fun already, but some things benefit from just a little bit of extra time, and sometimes that bit of extra time is a luxury that you just don't necessarily get when you have a half hour and you basically have to prioritize what you're going to put in and what you're going to leave out. Whereas when it comes to YouTube, there is no such self-censorship or censorship of any kind that's really required because the content can be as long or as short as we want. So we can make a judgment call, and it also means that you can make a judgment call, because if there's anything that you want to see, then leave a comment down below on any of the videos that I do, send an email, give us a call. We're always happy to hear from you. And that's one of the nice things about the internet world that we live in, that you can kind of have that back and forth. I mean, television is good for the cachet, but the nice thing about the internet is that you can actually talk to people and you can actually engage with your audience in a way that you can't really do so much on a television show. But what we can do is we can promote the dialogue that can happen off the TV screen, which can then in turn inform the stuff that's on a TV screen. Because honestly, the days of, appointment television, as some people might call it, that's dead. I mean, those days are gone. We don't live in a world of just you watch TV and that's it. And when we say it's on at 8 o'clock, then you watch it, damn it. We're not living in that world anymore. Conversely, I also don't think that we're living in a world where basically it's internet only. Now, bear in mind, my definition of television is a little bit more broad than I think a lot of people consider what television is. To me, television is anything that you're watching on a larger screen, either with yourself or other people in a living room situation. To me, I do consider Netflix TV. I do consider, um, I'm having a brain fart here. Yeah, I consider Netflix TV. I consider Prime TV as well. I consider Paramount Plus TV. I consider all those things TV. If it has the ability to stream live, whether or not that content is necessarily there or available at that time, to me, I consider that TV. And there are some things that are going to require that you sit in front of the screen when it starts. For example, a sports event for, you know, case in point, right? You can't pause and rewind a live sports event. Once it's started, I suppose you can. But if the game starts at 8, the game starts at 8. You can't say, you know what, I would have rather have watched it last night. Well, no, you have to wait for a rerun or tape it or play it or TiVo it or whatever the hell you want to do with it, and then that's the case. But by and large, there's a reason why people are still going to live games, right? Because they start at a certain time, so everybody knows when to get in there and when to sit and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think appointment television is really going to go away because it's not necessarily realistic for everybody to be able to afford 40 to 100 or more bucks a pop to go to a football game or a baseball game or a basketball game or whatever. So your option is to sit at home and watch it on TNT or ESPN or whatever, or Fox Sports Net or whatever it is you happen to be watching it on. So I don't think TV in that regard is going to go away. I don't think live sports production is going to go away. It just means that it's going to evolve, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Now we can see statistics and we can basically look at these statistics in real time. And you can have semi-interactive tickers and you can have stuff going to your phone. And there's a whole wealth of interesting information and content that is available to you, both on your phone and on TV, and they all kind of inform each other, right? So let's say you're watching ESPN or FS1, or in Quebec, you're watching TVA Sport and you're betting on a game. Well, then maybe you have an app for bet99.net. Well, now you can look at that and you're getting a feed from TVA Sport, for example, and you now have the ability to basically have all that stuff and inform your betting in real time. So these are all kind of interesting things, and fantasy football and fantasy basketball and all this kind of stuff. So to me, that all still constitutes television, and this is why we're kind of bumping up the interactivity for Go Nitro, right? And these are things that I think really kind of bring people together. And when we do something live, we can kind of do that too, right? Because some stuff is going to be hyper live, and other stuff is going to be sort of live to tape. But there's all kinds of streams that we can do that we can kind of share and bring people together. So these are all things that I'm going on and on and on and on about, like a gas-fed duck, that are probably better to show, which I will in the future. But these are exciting things that I wanted to talk about. But like I said, I just wanted to pop on because I hadn't been on in a while, and I finally had the chance to fix this stupid microphone transmitter thing, which, to be honest, was my own tiny brain that fucked that up. So now I fixed it, and there we go. So that's pretty much how I'm going to end it, I think, for now. And so, yeah, so those of you that have not already done so, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Not that I mean to sit here and beg, but you'd be surprised how much of an impact it has. And it also allows us and myself to keep creating new content for you. Be myself when I kind of do these fun little things online, live, or through other content, and it really does help. And for those of you who have subscribed recently, I thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I notice every time the subscription ticker goes up. So that does mean a lot to me, and please do keep it coming. And as always, if there's anything you want to see, let me know about it. Email, comments, phone, smoke signals, Morse code, whatever. So yeah, have a good night, and I will see you sooner than you think. Have a good one.